Me and fiancé have been together for 4 years, engaged for 6 months. I also have a 7-year-old lab mix who is the greatest dog in existence. On Saturday, fiancé had a bachelorette party at home. I stayed with my parents, but I left the dog with her because she likes having him there. However, I made sure to tell her to put the dog in our bedroom once the party gets going. 5 on Sunday, I get a frantic call that something's wrong with the dog. She was so I told her to get a taxi and go to the emergency vet clinic. When I got there, she looked like she hadn't stopped crying for hours and she couldn't even speak. 2 of her friends were there, so they told me my dog is alive but not well. I felt sorry for her for an entire 10 minutes while waiting for the doctor. But then the doctor told me my dog ingested large amounts of alcohol and chocolate edibles. The girls apparently thought it would be cool to leave everything out on short coffee tables, leave the dog to wander around instead of putting him in our bedroom, and then get wasted and not notice he was going to town with the booze and edibles. When we got home, I told my fiancé to pack and get out of my house and my life. I told her to tell her guests the wedding is off and I'll tell mine. She was shocked, but she took her things and left. 2 hours later, I get bombarded by messages on Messenger, WhatsApp, by her sisters, brother's wife, her mom, her friends, telling me that I am insane to do this to her after 4 years. They started off defending her, but it quickly turned into insulting me. The logical thing for me to do was look for comfort in my friends and family. Nope. They all agree. My mom said, well, it was a mistake, she didn't do it on purpose, besides the dog didn't die. Lucky me, eh? My dog didn't die. My sister was appalled that I canceled the wedding over that, and even my best man said I might have overreacted. Yes, our relationship has had ups and downs, but it's mostly worked fine. But I am so disgusted at my fiancé that I can't even imagine looking her in the eye, let alone spending my whole life with her. She isn't 17, she is 27. By the way, this is not the first dumb thing she has done. She likes to text while driving. She always leaves stuff on the electric stove even though she has turned on the wrong burner and burnt whatever was on it several times in the past, and similar dangerous things. It's not something I hold against her, in the sense that I would ever mention in a fight, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried that she might end up killing herself or someone else. For example, my dog. I'm 99% sure I will stand by my decision. But am I really in beep? Literally nobody is on my side and I have no idea what to think. And #X200B. Beep edit, posting here kind of triggered me to conclude this isn't about the dog at all. She is negligent and irresponsible, and I don't want to stick around and possibly see our child die in a car accident someday because she was texting or she forgot to put his seatbelt on. I'd rather be in beep now than spend years of my life worrying every time our child is left alone with her. If she'd accidentally killed a person while texting and driving, I would also leave her. I guess I realized I don't want to spend my life with someone who has such blatant disregard for human life. Beep. Update: my fiancé's ex sent me their beep tapes and I made the terrible mistake of watching it. Here's a link to the original. As for the update, after posting here and reading the advice and reflecting on my actions, I realized what I did was wrong and a violation of my fiancé's privacy. I allowed my insecurities to dictate my actions. Even though my fiancé is okay with me using his phone, my intent to snoop made what I did wrong. So I decided to just come clean. I sat him down the next day and told him that the ex sent me the videos as well, and also came clean about the snooping. He was pretty upset, but surprisingly he wasn't that upset with the snooping. He seemed more upset that his ex had somehow managed to cause drama once again in his life. He told me that he hadn't watched any of the videos because in a majority of them he was uncomfortable with recording them and only did it for her, and was afraid if watching it made me look at him in a bad way. This made me feel even shittier for what I did, and I apologized again and reassured him that they did not in any way lessen my feelings or respect for him. I wanted him to have some time to process things and decide what to do about the ex and what I did, so I gave him some space. That night, I decided to cook his favorite meal as a sort of apology dinner and discuss things. He seemed in a much better mood. He apologized to me for not telling me about the tapes right away, and for being an idiot and not realizing that she would come after me when he had blocked her. He told me he appreciated me coming clean about the snooping and understood how I got carried away and that I could have just talked to him, and he would have given me his phone and reassured me that he hadn't kept any of the videos. I asked if he was going to press charges regarding revenge beep, and he told me that he wanted nothing to do with her and that we should just move on and enjoy our engagement and forget the whole thing. I told him it was completely his choice and I support him and would delete the videos and block her right away. Finally, I brought up the texts and he apologized to me for the rant. He told me that was the first time in a long time that he had actually thought about who was better, and that he had never actively compared me with any of his exes before. He told me he should have just answered it with a simple "my fiancé is better" and tried to apologize again. I told him that he didn't have to sugarcoat anything and that it was his private conversation with a friend, and I have no right to be mad when he wasn't really disrespectful about me or our beep life. I also told him that it was okay if she was better and I didn't have to be the best at everything. He explained to me that after talking to Sarah he thought more about it and that he hadn't really expressed his thoughts well in the text, but he would like to explain it better. You are the best I have had. I am not lying or sugarcoating anything. If someone asked me who is the most skilled or the most adventurous beep partner that I have had, then yeah, it would probably be her. But that doesn't really matter because if someone asked me what was the best beep I have ever had, my first thought would be the time when we had beep right after you asked me to marry you, and then it would be the night when you first told me you loved me, and third would be the time when we had beep in the kitchen, the day I moved in. For all her skill and experience, she couldn't even make the top 3, and we have the rest of our lives to make sure that she doesn't even come near the top 100. So no, I am not lying when I say you are the best I have had. I am not going to lie, despite what I said about not needing to be the best. Just hearing what he said made me really happy, so I kissed him and asked him if he wanted to try and break into the top 3 again. Then we had beep. I didn't really specifically try to be more aggressive, but I tried to focus more on what he was feeling to reassure myself that he was enjoying it as much as I did. That naturally allowed me to be the one in the lead, and it was great. I could tell that he really enjoyed it as well. I know I have to work on my insecurities and potentially see a therapist, but for now I will try my best to just forget what I saw on those videos and enjoy being engaged to the most amazing man I know. TLDR, I fessed up. My fiancé was very graceful and even tried to take some of the blame. We made up and will continue to enjoy the post-engagement bliss. P.S. I appreciate the harsh comments that told me I was wrong to snoop. But those of you that sent me hateful beep telling me that I was no better than his ex and that I should leave him. Seriously, beep. I may be an insecure nut sometimes, but I have never ever taken it out on him and would never hurt him like she did. And me wanting to be the best beep he has had is not some narcissistic ego trip. It was because to me he is the best beep I have ever had, and I wanted to be the same for him. I don't think there is anything wrong with that. AITA for telling my sister I don't trust her to watch my son. I'm a 19-year-old man with a 3-month-old son. His mother surrendered her rights and is no longer in the picture. I work for him 12 p.m. at a gas station and I raise my son. That's what I do these days. Only one of my friends still speaks to me and hangs out with me. I live at home with my parents and sister and pay a small rent each month. I can't afford to move out with the baby. My parents help me when they can. My sister doesn't like my son. She once told me she thinks he's an annoyance and hindrance. If he cries, she complains. If there's baby clothes in the laundry, she complains. Basically, the baby exists and that beep her off. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying my best to be a good dad. My sister has never offered to help with the baby beyond holding him briefly, and she hasn't done that more than about 4 or 5 times since he was born. The other day my friend called and offered me a really great opportunity for some side work. He works construction and they needed an extra guy for some installation work. 4 hours and I'd get $400.00. I jumped at it. Any extra money can only help. I started trying to find a babysitter. My sister was hanging out in the living room while I walked around the house on the phone. I managed to find a sitter who said she didn't want to be paid and went to get the baby ready. My sister asked me why I didn't ask her when she was sitting right there. I told her I didn't think she'd want to since she'd never offered to help before. She told me it was different, this was for work and not just me wanting to sleep or whatever, and he was about to go down for his nap and he's pretty easy when first wakes up. She told me it wouldn't be a problem. I asked her why she didn't say something between phone calls, and she said she didn't think she needed to because we're family and family asks each other for help. I reminded her of all the times she'd complained about the baby and me, and called him names, and told me she waited he'd never been born, and asked her why she thought I'd ever trust her with my son. She started crying and told me that wasn't fair and I needed to remember that the whole house was dealing with a baby, and she was just having a hard time adjusting, but she'd never do anything to hurt him. I told her she should have spoken to me about her feelings instead of acting like a child, took my son and left. When I got home, both my parents set in on me because my sister told them I'd accused her of bad intentions to the baby. AITA for being honest when my sister offered to babysit. ETA, apparently beep is on my side right now. The lady I mentioned in the post who babysat my son for me, she goes to church with my mom, and when I dropped my son off I explained that I was having trouble finding a sitter or paying for daycare. She called the pastor and explained the situation, and 2 days a week my son can attend the church nursery school from 7 to 12 p.m. for free. And the lady has offered to take my son 1 day a week during the same time frame, and has also found another lady who will take him for 1 day a week, same time frame. The ladies both requested $50.00, which I'm happy to pay. That means there's only 1 day a week and 3 hours in the mornings that I need childcare, and my mom has agreed to watch him for the 3 hours and drop him off. I still have to figure out Fridays, but Monday, Thursday are covered. I can breathe again.